So we're going to now move on to our own application and discussion and have an opportunity for me to also circulate a little bit more. So here's how this works, what I'd like us to do. So this is a fairly open-ended application exercise, and we'll take half an hour on this, and then we'll have a little chunk of time at the end to have a share out and wrap up for today. So here's what we're doing. We're taking today just attention and memory related challenges, concerns, and solutions. So if it's more in the realm of thinking or motivation, that's great, but hold that thought till tomorrow. So I suggest first that you review I put together a grid of resources, and honestly this also just maps onto the website if you'd rather go to that. And these contain some things that, techniques, tools, specific tips or websites that we've talked about today, and I think it's also got a few we haven't. So if there's anything you're curious about, by all means let me know and I can flesh those out. So first off, kind of come at it from that way. Go back, review, and see is there anything that really caught your attention. If there is, make a mental note that you might want to work that in. And then I would like you to look at your worksheet that is titled Applying It Part 1. And this asks you, first of all, to define a teaching challenge. Now, we're not, going to go super negative and just, complain, but really, it's a good starting point to think, what's some hard issue? This could be a concept your students keep stumbling over, or something more global. Like here's something they keep doing, or they should do and they never do, or they don't care, or something like that. So something that if you could wave a wand and have that thing go away, what would your challenge be? So focus it in on one challenge for you, and then quite simply articulate a strategy for addressing the challenge, hopefully using some concepts from today. Now, one other thing, I have sticky paper for you, but rest assured we're not going to do the traditional thing of, we have a reporter who's assigned and they're going to formally summarize. I don't think we're going to do that here today. I would like for each table to do 2 pieces of sticky paper. And I'd like everybody, if you're comfortable with it, everybody write down at least a few words. First of all, the challenges, right? And when I see challenge sheets starting to get completed, we can stick those on the wall so you can see what other people are coming up with. And then the second sticky sheet, solutions. So what were just some ideas? And these sometimes can be summarized in a phrase or a sentence. So not lots of writing, not a lot of outlining, 2 pieces of paper. What were the challenges that your groups were identifying, and what were some solutions? All right? So 30 minutes, work together, and I'll come around and talk. Well, any challenge, for you and your practice. Yeah, those are the grids to kind of refresh yourself on what were some of the menus of options and things you might like. And the challenges in your discipline or course, in the stuff that you do, like it's come up a lot in the discussion. People say that there's this one thing. So what's your one thing you want to focus on? Huh. Yeah. Oh no, you're fine. So like this. Some of the attention ones. The change blindness. That's the I wasn't going to use it in the whole group, but that's the name of the effect that the amazing color changing card trick is supposed to demonstrate. So that's that. We didn't do this, but it is described on the website. It's just another kind of fun and games thing you can do in a class to get students thinking about distraction and their reaction time. Attention matters. I mean, I have a faculty guide, but it's it summarizes a lot of the same stuff that we went over. So anything out of attention matters might grab you. So a good old movie lines game. So yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that more tomorrow. So yeah, that's to kind of refresh yourself on anything that might stimulate your creativity or you particularly like. But then, yeah, identify teaching challenge, and we'll work towards, of course, some potential solutions. Sound good? Nice. Right. Well, we got some stimulus to creativity, but any ideas on what teaching challenges you all might want to be thinking about? What would you want to tackle? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And the formulas will follow. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't put it all together because my brain is lost half of that. I just don't remember. But I just know.
So they're focused at this micro level of, okay, here's 30 formulae, and even if you're not a memory scientist, you know that will never work. That will never, you couldn't memorize all of those just cold. And you're saying, okay, they need to come at it from a different level, and then the memory will follow. All right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. That's your wave the wand challenge. Well, great. Put it in. I'll leave it to you to boil it down to a few pithy words, but that's a great one. All right. They're treating this as a giant brute force, information dump, and they need to come at it from another direction. Yeah. All right. Cool. What do you all think about your teaching challenges that you would focus on? I know it feels like just everything this type of year, but if you had to pick one. What do you think? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in your cases.
We actually ordered 70 viewers.
Yeah. All right, so they are stuck on some of the more routine things. It's not like memorizing 31 formulas. This time, here's where the parentheses goes, and it just goes there. And you do kind of need to know that, and then you can, okay. And what do you teach if, Mama asked you teach what? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's really direct. It's not like, oh, you need to pay attention so you can learn some other thing. That's one of the core skills. And it's not just a matter of, oh, I can expand my capacity to remember everything. It doesn't work that way. But you can change how you approach it. You can change your strategy, so to speak. All right. Good. Well, I look forward to seeing what you write down and what you come up with for solutions. Eavesdropping. Go for it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, but I've never started. I put it with their, they don't value community. And it was for them, they don't think that it matters.
Oh.
They want to just do people nice, right? Well, I said we gotta figure out a way to relate it back to them, and we'll break up your story. Well, that's what I'm working. We gotta make things, we gotta figure out a way. I would just leave it I'm slightly hard day, I'm sorry, so seriously, I would do something like that in the they're so young, their brains are not yet developed. So they, they start doing impulse control. So you help them absolutely Well, this is the problem. There's a complete disconnect between the way that we do well and the way that we do college. We spend all our time telling them to sit down and shut up. No, we don't teach them the secrets they learn from it. We don't teach them the things that we want them to know when they get here. So we have to start off by teaching them all of the things so that they can then apply it through school. So the problem is that we from kindergarten, no, we from kindergarten, we should be telling them critical thinking, not sit down and shut up and listen to them.
Well, great. Well, even if you could just put a few words or phrases down to characterize some of your challenges, that'll give us something to post on the wall so we can all see. So put those down and then move on to the solutions. I'm right here. I materialized. Pardon me? Good. Okay. Okay. Yikes.
You might say, we're here most days of the week.
And they do not come and they're expected to have the intro to
Uh-huh.
all that. Other grades, you can do that. You could obviously split it up into smaller chunks. But my question is, even then, in order to sustain and there's a attention for long readings, whether it's a novel or whether it's a long chapter of text.
But you've got to get a relationship, you've got to make these kids think that they're not just rote memorizers. You've got to treat them.
Yeah.
So that sustained attention to a task.
Yeah, and you're not, this is not, I mean, we're talking about Moby Dick. You're not going to design your way out of it, or you're not going to go home face-to-face or online. You're not going to go home and hold their hands and say, you know, this many minutes doing this. What do students themselves say about it? You have your perception of this as an issue and a problem. What's their perception?
Well, sometimes they refer to whatever it is boring. And boring compared to taking the bus
Yeah.
or reading Facebook. So boring is sort of the all-purpose
Yeah. Huh.
response. They don't,
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of them say it's too hard.
Huh. I didn't have enough. Yeah, I didn't have enough time. And students themselves, they'll say their own time management is just kind of a. Yeah. I mean, it might be. I mean, bringing in a little bit of time management light into the class itself. I mean, you don't want to necessarily sit down and be like, "This is a planner, and here's how to use it," but there's a little bit in there, because I think just querying that. What does that mean to say that we don't have enough time? Yeah, what does that mean?
They don't
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
the majority of ones that I haven't seen
Uh-huh.
they read slow. They literally talk while they're reading. They're not taught when they read, like they talk. And they'll syllabize words as they're reading.
That can be a barrier.
I've watched a lot of students do that.
Wow.
I don't even know they're being taught how to, which is why some of them
Yeah. And you had a comment? Yeah.
inspired. All right, so where's the time?
And then giving them a framework. Some of them, and I encourage this in some of our first year learning initiative classes in computer science, or somebody saying, hey, okay, I'm a professional, it would take me X amount of time to do this. Right? And that's just information we're putting out there. So yeah, maybe it's a question of, oh, well, hey, it's boring, you've got 3 hours for Facebook, you can do this. Maybe it really is a 10-hour a week commitment, but you've got these others, so there's got to be a way to structure it. And then maybe, I don't even know, maybe I couldn't even ballpark for you how long it would take me to read Moby Dick and to read it right. Is it 10 hours? Is it 20 hours? Is it 2 hours? I don't know, because I'm a student. What do you think? So those are some interlocking issues, but I also heard they don't know how to read.
Right. I don't know if they've been taught how to actually read or expect to read. Because like I said, my wife is also someone who works in the school. She actually taught. So we'll have a thing that we're reading, and we'll read it together. And I will read it almost twice as she does. Because she literally, but that's how she was taught. That's how her daughter, I mean, basically, I think it's how you learn up. And a lot of kids today, I watch them read, and they actually talk about it, talk it out.
Yeah.
They don't go as fast.
Yeah.
I've always tried to split it up.
I mean, commercial speed reading applications, you know, they're very problematic, but what you're describing is not sounding it out consciously. That's different, yeah.
Because you did with words,
Yeah.
you're more than doubling.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
More modern
Yeah. And anytime I hear they don't know how to X, of course, what do I fall back on? Well, explicit practice where they're trying out X. And I say, you know, like, and I hear that all, well, they can read, I hear it, they read it, but they didn't get it, or they didn't deconstruct it, or they didn't pull out the important points. And okay, then it's on, if you really want to ramp that skill up, and you're going to do it in your course, then some explicit practice, or have them work together to collectively annotate something, or highlight together, or something to say, all right, I want you to do that, because I think we all do know at some level that if we just at the end of the day or the end of the course say, well, they never did X, okay, now we're just disappointed but we have to actually build that skill up explicitly if we want it sometimes.
So you gauge
Yeah.
they're more, and I'll just use academic.
Yeah.
So for example, I use
Wow, okay.
Focusing on your breath is also a way to learn how to focus your attention on something specific.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed how hard it is. 5 minutes. We're only having 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Be without your phone.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine having them read 500, a book of 500 pages in
Yeah.
a week or in a semester. When they can't even have their attention focused for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that struggle is real. I have been trying it for a very long time too. But I think this is at least part of it, is recognizing, it's a struggle. It's not just a generational thing or we're going to give up on it. This is something you can practice, and this perhaps becomes some explicit part of the course or of your practice of, we're going to tackle not just Moby Dick, but how does one tackle Moby Dick? How do you do it as a professional? How would I do it? What are some strategies? You tell each other how you work through it, because they're all, if not exactly in the same boat, they're all facing a lot of the same struggle. So I'm going to avoid being too prescriptive, but capture some of your struggles or challenges, and even just a word or two can sometimes be helpful for getting a sense of everybody's. We must have markers. We're good. Oh, she's passing a marker. Okay, very good. Yep, put it on sticky. Yeah, so we'll tackle thinking and motivation tomorrow. We're going to try to. Well, as they say, it's a free country, and these things are heavily interrelated. So if you must, you must. But I like this as sort of a way of dividing and conquering. Yeah, proving or compelling labor. We remember movies; they're made to be memorable, and we can complain about attention span, and we were very much at the last table. But we can sit and if we're engaged in the right way, we can sit for 2 hours for a feature film. People can play games until biology interrupts the flow. They can hold them. So it can do it. We can do these things. Capture a few words of your challenges. I just want to post them and get a sense, so we can all kind of see in the room what are some of the challenges that we have. Even a word or two is good. No, just a challenge. Even if you write them in all over the place, that's fine. And then do the same thing for some of your ideas for solutions. We're not looking for outlines or anything articulated. Give us a sense of some highlights. All right? Yeah. Well, then write it in giant letters and it'll speak for the whole table.
Their online platform textbooks.
Okay.
And I really like it because what you do is you set however many points you want the students to get to, and they will serve up all these questions about you basically from the reading, and you just have to answer them until they reach a certain number of points. And if you can just answer it off the top of your head, you get full points, or you can go back and check the book. I really like that. And we have a little bit like reading quizzes a little bit where it's completely informative. There's really no point to do with it, but it is a way of almost self-testing.
Yeah, and it really gets that idea across that this is part of the reading and studying component, not the killer test at the end. So I like that, and the scaffolded hints. That's been a technique that's been around for a while in the MOOCs and the big online systems that do work well. Online Learning Initiative, I think, is one of them. The idea being that that's as in so many things, there's a sweet spot in the middle between I have no idea, it's a shot in the dark, and oh my gosh, easy quiz. And so scaffolded hints let you kind of hang out for longer in that sweet spot where I don't quite know, but you're not going to give everything to me. So I just wish there were more materials like that. Not everybody in every discipline has that. I don't have it for research methods, which blows my mind. I wish I had it. So there's so much building up front. But if it's built and we're not taking advantage of it, I think that's a missed opportunity. So yeah, good specific thing to share with the colleagues. Maybe write that on the solutions page. Even if people don't know what it is, if they're intrigued, they'll ask, which is what this is all about.
One benefit of being in history, I guess, right?
Of being in history.
Yeah.
It's one of those big, frankly, money makers for them. We have it in Psych 101. Everything else, it's like, oh, you're on your own. So, Oh, good. We have challenges and strategies. Sure. And you don't have to map one-to-one. We're just capturing even a few words or a few phrases so people get a sense of what other people were thinking about. So don't overthink this part of it. But yeah, so we have some challenges. Getting students to thoughtfully engage in a specific reading assignment. That table over there says the same thing going in a different. Oh, probably all of us. Yeah, the same challenge of. And I hear this a lot at NAU too. Students, they don't read or they can't read. Well, they can read, but they don't read the way I want them to. Right?
What did you get?
And why are you, so you're interested in them when you select them and read them. Why are you interested in them? Yeah.
I wouldn't say this is but I mean after the quiz.
My classes, I say, using technology. You're not letting up saying
Okay.
no, I tell them the very first
All right. So you liked that article because it has a combination. But when you run across it in a journal and go, oh my gosh, I have to read that. Why? Like what's for you personally?
And I get around that too. I say, okay, well, anything up here, I'm going to.
And I wonder sometimes if we can import a little bit of that expert's level of, we call it interest, but really it's about goals, right? When I read that, when I say, oh my gosh, here's an article about working memory that's going to maybe change the workshop I'm writing, or it fits into a why for me. There's a little bit I just think memory is interesting, but partly like, oh my gosh, I'm writing this paper, and this is part of what I have to extract from it. So sometimes I wonder if that can, at least in part, be something we can elicit in our students too. When I'm reading it for a why, all of a sudden, oh yeah, it's a little bit more commanding than I'm reading it because I'm reading it. Okay, that's right. Good.
So I go through the chapter and I go through 5 concepts that I think are the most important. And then the rest of it I leave it on them when I say just because I don't cover in class doesn't mean that you are not responsible for it. But
Yeah.
the 5 things that I think are the most important,
Yeah.
the most difficult to understand, and then those are the things that I touch on in class. And then I also find I online I require a reading guide. They have a reading guide. And what's the questions on there? So you have this concept that you want to understand. And the grade notes, and I want to make sure so they have all of their questions. There are times that it's
Okay, so I have to do an interview. I like that because it's social and you're kind of on the spot, but not in a bad way. But yeah, I'm going to have to sit down and talk to somebody else who's not my instructor. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and make the pieces, memory-wise, make the pieces fit and click in a way that they wouldn't if I were just kind of reviewing it. Yeah. All right, so we're going for, this table's all about goals and goal-focused and context for learning. All right, good deal. Again, capture just a few words to share. So I make sure that they've got a visual response on that concept in their Okay, that's what. Your assignment is to find a free spot on the wall to put this. Be the first. Thank you. Oh, this is great. I like this very much. Nice. All right. Mind if I find a place for this? I'll.
It's a very small amount of organization. It's actually work-based relationships in the workplace or something like that. So it's got a very small percentage of organization, but I do focus on that a little bit. Honestly, what I use it for is I use it as a platform to get them ready for the workplace. So they have to find a job, and then they go resume.
Mind if I post this? It's good. Well, we'll get as far as we can, and it's a good place to start. Very good. Let's maybe take about 2 more minutes to bring your small group discussion to a close, and then we'll share out. Great. Mind if I steal this from you and just put it on the wall?
That'll start it.
Very nice. right. So looks like this group came to its conclusion pretty. Very good. All right, good. You never know. All right. Okay. Oh, well, see the technology. It once again gets in the way. Who says it's just the learning management's job to wreck everything? All right. Okay, everybody. Minus a marker malfunction in one group. I think we've all recorded some good observations. And this is how we know that we're having a good productive workshop is when we have the ball rolling and can't get it to slow down. All right, so as I said, we're not going to do a formal report out. I really like a very open-ended, share with us the highlights, things that were revealed, the insights you had about the real challenges, when you had to think about them in this way, not in terms of the material or the sequencing, but what's in the way? Picking one thing just for our purposes today. So sharing those challenges and, if not full solutions, some ideas that appeal to you to perhaps pursue. All right? So you don't have to speak for your whole table. You can if you feel like doing that, but let's just have some hands and some highlights. So, yes, Bruce.
Very narrowly defined project. I got a very narrowly defined project. I want to break up my lectures more with the idea of resetting attention every little bit. And so I'm specifically thinking of videos, which I'm having my students do. I'm teaching face-to-face, but I've got some video content that I want them to do offline. And so I'm looking in ways where I can insert quizzes in the middle of the videos and have them do something interactive after they watch a section of 10 minutes of video or something, and still have those grades recorded in Canvas. So I've just been, in fact, I'm in the middle of email conversations about this already with Amanda Shipman and learning about how we can do that within Canvas.
Okay. And
which is not, it's not that easy.
No, it isn't.
So
Can I ask, are you going to have feedback, or how's that specific going to work?
Right now, I'm just, since I had the idea less than an hour ago, and I'm already in video conversation, I think I'm doing pretty good. I haven't got all the other things worked out yet, and I don't know what kind of questions I can do.
Yeah.
I don't really want to do multiple choice because they're upper level classes, but so I just don't know yet. I just want to see what will the technology support it.
Yeah.
And if I don't kill myself with the technology, then I can go to the other details.
Yeah, so video and a check for understanding, and something hopefully that will draw students in, if not feedback right, wrong, they love that, but if that's not practical or doable for some reason, it can still work. That's why I asked. All right, great. So we have one kind of attention. We need to break this down and have more stop outs. How are we going to do it? We're going to do it with video coupled with some type of student interaction. All right, and timed differently, it sounds like. Okay, great start. What else do we have as highlights? Challenges that were identified and/or solutions. Go. There we go.
There it is. Well, at least much to my amazement, we all kind of came up with the same problem, which is students missing basic concepts in classes. And we all had, I think, totally different ideas about how to solve it. Mine was the diagram thing that I mentioned earlier, and yours was.
Well, a lot of it has to do with deeper reading and engaging with text and trying to teach students that they need to use time effectively, whether they're in a face-to-face class or online. And those are skills they have to learn, right? They have to learn what they need to do in a lecture to effectively learn something or know what to do even when they're online and there are all these other distractions that they're confronted with. And I think, working with kind of dispelling some of these myths about attention and memory can help them more effectively utilize the time that is allocated to learning.
So is this kind of a lecture at the beginning of the term that you say, do it this way?
Well, one option is to use this quiz that that we're talking about, and this attention matters, right, to kind of alert them to those sorts of shortcomings of their misunderstandings of memory and attention.
Yeah, that myth-busting approach, by the way, that's a pretty good quick shot way of just saying, all right, here's what you think is true, here's what's actually true. Because who doesn't like to find out, you say, hey, half of these things are wrong and half of these things are right, and then to go through and say which are which. So that might be a way to do it. Yeah. And this group, I'm noticing, well, actually all three of these tables had some really overlapping themes. So I'm going to put this group on the spot too. And say what were some of the things that this group identified, even across some very diverse disciplines, that were barriers?
Very different, I think. Thanks. The first one I mentioned was this is our little tab up there, the distractions and multitasking, which I think has come up in lots of people's classes, and getting them to focus and tune out what's happening around them. And I would really like for UTLC to follow up on your module, so that we could, I would be interested in using that module as a strategy, because I've used several different things to convince them. I've shown them the research on multitasking and how many seconds you lose when you're changing from one task to another, and you're just queuing it up instead of doing the same things at the same time. You're just not doing that. And I think that there must be a better way to convince them. Do you want me to just pass this?
So the challenge that I put forth is that I'm in the English department, and I teach pre-Civil War American literature, and the novels are long. Moby Dick, Uncle Tom's Cabin. And so one of the problems then that I face parentally is the problem of getting students to engage in sustained attention to a text. Moby Dick cannot be read quickly. No matter how fast you read, it cannot be read quickly. So to think about ways to help them increase their attention and the ability to have sustained attention with long books, which we found also crosses over into long textbook chapters or long journal articles. The issue is of sustained attention in reading.
Well, the problem that I've talked about a couple of problems. I teach courses in human development and family studies where people come with a lot of personal experience and life experience. And one thing is to get them to see what knowledge has as opposed to what their preconceived notions are. But the problem that I talked about a little bit is that I teach courses on close relationships where there are just tons of studies, and the textbooks will give you a test bank, and they'll have questions on some point that was covered in 3 sentences in a 25-page chapter. And so students are just kind of bombarded with information. Some of it is organized, and textbook writers do have some techniques for trying to make some semblance and overall gestalts, but still in all they give you just too much information in some sense. And so I did think that many of the things that we talked about, distribution, relating it to yourself, practice tests, I think those kinds of things would work with this.
Good.
Very good. Right. And this concept of time management, and I think it's a little into self-regulated learning, and it's probably not what most of us thought that we would be teaching when we came to teach in college. But perhaps there's a role for a centralized resource like Attention Matters, or for more of us in the course of what we do to be talking specifically about that. And I know that some of my colleagues back at the First Year Learning Initiative are very big on saying, okay, here's how many hours this would take me to complete as an expert. It would take me this long to read a chapter of Moby Dick, to at least contextualize it. Does that guarantee they're going to do the exact same? No, but at least now they have an anchor, because they may not have any idea coming in. And I also heard from several of the groups, I don't have enough time. That may mean I literally don't have enough time.
And one of the things that I have actually done a little bit of work about how much time students spend. And if you look at the government, they say if you're getting government funding, students are supposed to spend about 9 hours a week on each course. For every
Outside of
3-credit
class.
course, they're supposed to spend 9 hours.
Yeah.
The reality is that students, if you look at student data on how much time they spend, it's about 5 to 6 hours a week. And so,
If you're lucky, yeah. And putting that statement in our syllabus, boy, that transforms it. Not, said no teacher ever. So I think that's another, like attention matters, we're looking to engage maybe student to student or show them, don't just tell them, ways of tackling this to say, is it truly a time deficit that could only be solved by pretty sophisticated scheduling? Is it more a matter of priorities? Is it a matter of perception? Maybe we thought it took us a long, it feels like a year to read Moby Dick, but that's because of the perception, yeah.
But I don't know if it's necessarily that or how they do things, because one of the things I do in my class is teach mindfulness, how to be present. And we try to have them incorporate a daily practice. So most of them said, I want to learn how to study without distraction. So what they did was, we're going to put our phone away while we study.
Yeah.
And it lasted like 2 days. And they're so used to having, I'm studying and my phone's right here,
Yeah.
and it's buzzing, and I have to make sure I check it.
Yeah.
So I think, how do you stop them from that? Because that's the world they live in is,
Yeah.
I've got what I'm doing, but I have to have this here. And
That's-
it's got to be on all the time.
And I'm also going to say hold that thought for tomorrow, because that directly maps onto the I know I should, but how do I? And one more, and then we're going to hit our lunch.
Speaking of the 9 hours a week thing, my class is the one that brings up the average for UNCG. Going back to reading and reading
Yeah.
long things, my students have huge difficulty extracting understanding from a physics textbook, parsing and interrogating the textbook to build understanding. They try and read it through like a novel, and if it doesn't speak to them, they're done. Can you speak to that through the lens of attention and memory, perhaps?
Right. And with that basic concept that our brains are in no way set up to just take in the undifferentiated. I mean, when you say read it like a novel, that can mean different things, but I picture a student who's just reviewing information. That is not going to go in there. It has structure, and as we brought up a little bit in this group, with a goal. Like if you throw a journal article on me, I mean, we probably all had the experience of reading an article just because I should be reading it. Or worse, where one of our students, and I don't even know what we're going to do with it next week, but next week we're going to look at this, so I have to read it. Versus, I'm writing an article today about working memory, and I have to present it this way or that way, and oh my gosh, this article might change how I do that. That changes our engagement with how quickly we can do it and what we retain a lot. It can do that pretty quickly.
I hear you saying
yeah.
that if I give my students a purpose for the reading the chapter other than just learn this, you'll need to know it, it will shape how they engage with it. If I maybe give them a task to accomplish.
Yeah, a task to accomplish, and also structure. I mean, how does it, how is it and why is it, right? Good answer, bad answer?
I should have, yeah. You're feeding me my own dog food.
You're what?
You're feeding me my own dog food.
Oh, okay, well, with that appetizing thought, we're gonna run on to lunch. Thank you so much. It's been an intense morning, and you've been wonderful.